So the final double header that we have got in this World Cup, ICC World Cup 2023, is upon us today. Two games today. One, Pakistan versus England, which is the day-night game in Kolkata, and the first one today, Australia versus Bangladesh at Pune. The latest news that we are giving you is that Australia have won the toss and have elected to bowl in Pune. Now, Pat Cummins mentioned that they have opted to bowl in Pune because of the simple fact that there is early morning, there might be a bit of swing. The first day of the Pune games that was played, it was at this very pitch. And that's why there might be a bit of early swing. It looked a bit tacky, and that is the reason why Australia have won the toss and opted to bowl. Now, there are two major changes in the Australian cricket team. No Glenn Maxwell. That is one major change that you've got at this point. Second, you don't have Mitchell Starc also. Remember, Glenn Maxwell played a brilliant knock against Afghanistan, that 201, the cramping that was there, and every other thing. Just as a precautionary sake, Glenn Maxwell has been rested for this particular match, the final league game for both the sides. On the other hand, even Mitchell Starc has been rested in the game. And that is why, if you look at what are the changes at this point, David Warner, Travis Head, Mitchell Marsh, Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne, Josh Ingles, Marcus Stoinis, Sean Abbott, Pat Cummins, Adam Zampa, Josh Hazelwood. That is the current situation that we have got. Steve Smith is in, and also you've got Marcus Stoinis back, and Sean Abbott is also back, and that's why it's a very balanced team if you look at it. Then you've got Bangladesh. They have got one change in Nasoom Ahmed because you don't have a Shakib Al Hasan. Shakib Al Hasan, his tournament is over because of the finger injury that he sustained, and that is why Nazmul Hossain Shanto is going to lead the team. Nazmul Hossain Shanto will be hoping that he can at least give Bangladesh something to cheer for. Because remember, ICC Champions Trophy qualification is at stake here. If Bangladesh lose by a big margin today, they are not making it to the ICC Champions Trophy in 2025 in Pakistan. So that is a big blow for Bangladesh, and that's the case. At this point, three teams are in danger at this point when it comes to the Champions Trophy qualification. One is Sri Lanka, the other is Bangladesh, the third team that I'm looking at it is the Netherlands. Now, Sri Lanka cricket, you remember recently, just yesterday, they were suspended. I will be doing a special video on what are the consequences. Are Sri Lanka really banned? If I have to look at a layman's term, what happened with Zimbabwe, it has not happened with Sri Lanka at this point. That is the way how we are looking at it. And that's why Bangladesh, if they do not make it to the Champions Trophy, it might be another big blow to their aspirations in that sense. Sri Lanka, if they don't make it to the ICC Champions Trophy, it will be the first time ever in history that they have not qualified for any major ICC event. So that is the current situation when we have to look at what is this match all about. Lots is at stake in this particular match because Australia versus Bangladesh. Australia have already qualified for the semifinals. There's no doubt about that. They would want to finish second because Daniel Vettori gave a very unique twist to this match. He said that we would want the home teams, if you want to look at it, dressing room in Kolkata. Now, what is it about that home team dressing room which has gotten Australia so motivated at this point in time? That will be really interesting to see. So, Australia versus Bangladesh, that is the current situation that we have got. Now, what did Nazmul Hossain Shanto say at this point? We were looking to bat. Nasoom is coming in. To be very honest, we will look to do it and win this match in a big way. But remember, Bangladesh, yet again, yet another World Cup, have floundered. They have not lived up to their potential. Barring their one win that they had against Afghanistan, barring their second win that they had against Sri Lanka, which was a very tense win, Bangladesh have failed to come up at this major situation. Yet another ICC event, yet another failure, yet another underwhelming performance at this point in time. So, Bangladesh, Only ICC Champions Trophy qualifications at stake here at this point. Number one, if they have to win, they have to win by a big margin. Because if you look at the points table at this point, it is not a good reading for Bangladesh. Bangladesh, after 8 matches, have a net run rate of minus 1.142. Sri Lanka, after the end of 9 games, they have got a net run rate of minus 1.419. Now remember, minus 1.142 and minus 1.419. It should suggest that Bangladesh should somehow make it at this point. Because if they lose by a small margin, it might not impact the net run rate that much. But if they lose by a big margin of, say, 100 runs or 130 runs, if suppose Australia now, because they have opted to field, if they chase the target down in 25 to 30 overs, then Bangladesh's chances of making the ICC Champions Trophy are all but done at this point. Because you now have to understand, now that Bangladesh are batting first, if they notch a total in excess of 250 and Australia chase it down in 40 overs or 45 overs, then their chances of ICC Champions Trophy qualification is done. Because Sri Lanka's net run rate of minus 1.419, because of the heavy loss that they had against New Zealand, will not put them in good stead whatsoever. And that's why Sri Lanka and Netherlands, they seem to be the only two teams that are facing off, that are currently in the abyss at this point in time. Because Netherlands are facing India, and if they lose, their net run rate also takes a dip, and they will finish in 10th, and that's the end of their qualification chances. Sri Lanka have completed all their league games. Their league game against New Zealand was the last. And because of that, if if Bangladesh do not win by a big margin today, then it is game over for Sri Lanka. They will not be playing an ICC event for the first time in their history. So that is what is at stake here at this point in time. Australia, on the other hand, they are now on a 6 game winning streak. If they win this seven, then they have built good momentum for the semi-finals as well. Remember, you are talking about India versus New Zealand, a lot of revenge, a grudge match if you look at it. But Australia versus South Africa, they have a grudge match situation for the past 24 years, ever since 1999, ever since that epic semi-final at Edgbaston. That was when you saw how Australia just raised their A game, and because of that, they are one of the best in the business at this point. Many people have called them the Real Madrid of cricket, and I do agree with that sentiment as well. So this is where we are now currently when you look at Australia versus Bangladesh. One team is already through to the semi final. The other, if you look at it, fighting for Champions Trophy qualification. That too, which was highlighted by Shakib Al Hasan after their loss to Netherlands in Kolkata. Until then, no one ever knew that this World Cup would be about ICC Champions Trophy qualification. No one had ever known that. Only when Shakib highlighted it, then and only then it was at that point. So, the two changes for people who are joining us now, the two changes that are there. Glenn Maxwell is not in. It is just a precautionary rest because of what has happened in Pune, because of what happened in Mumbai. That 201, it can probably have resulted in a lot of cramping. He would want to have a bit of rest in that, and that is why it is not a major injury concern. He should be available for the semi-final on November 16th in Kolkata. On the other hand, Steve Smith, who had complained of vertigo, he is back in the team and he is taking up that spot. And along with that, Sean Abbott is in. So Glenn Maxwell is not there, and so is Mitchell Starc. So in comes Sean Abbott and in comes Steve Smith in that sense. Steve Smith, remember, number 4 position, vertigo and all that sense. And that's why fantastic situation for Australia. And so Bangladesh, can they put up a fight because they have been inserted into bat in these early morning conditions? Can Australia make full use of it? So Bangladesh, if I have to look at an estimate, should post a total ideally in around 250. But looking at this batting lineup and with no Shakib, their chances have taken a major hit. Remember, Shakib for 2 Pune games now has not been there. He missed the India game because of a groin strain, and because of that, he missed that. Now in Pune, the final league game, he is not there because of a finger injury. So that's the current situation that is there. Now, let me take some questions that are there. Mohammad Riaz is backing Bangladesh. Yes, Bangladesh should cause an upset, but then it's very highly unlikely because Shakib Al Hassan is not there, and that's why it's a big problem. Freaking awesome is like saying this is the first time Bangladesh versus Australia ODI is happening in India. Also, this was the first time Kohli faced Bangladesh in India in this World Cup and scored a century. Yes, Bangladesh have played in India. I mean, they played India in India after a gap of nearly 25 years. That is the amount of time that has happened. And if you look at it, Bangladesh and Pune, this is the first time that they are facing Australia. I mean, they have not played in India that much. That's the thing. Jabez Leander is like saying Bumrah Virat should be rested against Netherlands, hoping for India versus South Africa on November 19th. Bumrah Virat being rested for Netherlands, perhaps. Perhaps I would like to say maybe it can happen, maybe it should happen, but I don't think it will happen because there has been a week's gap. 6 days there has been a gap, and that's why they have already gotten the rest. There were two off days also. So I don't think the Indian cricket team is resting Bumrah or Virat at this point. You're playing with the same team, and then on 15th, you're playing the World Cup semi final against New Zealand in Mumbai. So I do not think that there is going to be any kind of a situation that is happening there. So this is that Sarat Chandra Yalamati saying Maxwell given rest or still injury concerns. I think it is just rest. It is not an injury concern. I think he will be fit for the November 16th game in Kolkata. It isn't a thing. Sid, can Shreyansh Pudipati saying, can we have any chance of a New Zealand versus South Africa final? Yesterday night when we are doing the South Africa versus Afghanistan match. Shreyans, let me tell you, a lot of people are probably even expecting that as well. Because if you look at what is the situation that we've got, the situation is that perhaps we have a very good chance of New Zealand beating India and South Africa beating Australia. Remember, South Africa have held a big edge against Australia in the last couple of years. I mean, in the last 16 ODIs, they have won only three. Australia, South Africa won the other 13. And that's why this is a really big situation that we have got at this point. So, there is a chance of a New Zealand South Africa final. It might happen. Remember, New Zealand, if you look at ICC World Cup, if you look at ICC knockouts, it's 3-0 in favor of New Zealand. 2000 Champions Trophy, 2019 semi final, 2021 World Test Championship. That is why I think New Zealand have a chance. But looking at India in current form, I don't think it is happening. You may possibly see an India versus South Africa's final, or you will see an India versus Australia final. Most likely, we all predicted it would be an India Australia final in Ahmedabad. If that happens, India can overcome 20 years of pain. Remember, 2003 final, Australia had defeated India. Now India has the chance to overcome that and take revenge on Australia. So that's what I look at it. There is a good chance of New Zealand, South Africa. Don't be fooled by that. So that is why par score. Our score, I would like to say, ideally it should be about 270. But looking at the Bangladesh batting, I don't think they're getting to 270 in this Pune wicket, and that's why it's looking at it in that way. Rajan Tend, yes, happy Choti Diwali. Yes, happy Choti Diwali to everybody here. All of our family members are very happy Choti Diwali. Let this year bring you a lot of prosperity, happiness, positivity around. It's a great time indeed. The festive season is there, the World Cup festival, plus there is Diwali. It's a great time to be in India at this point in time. So it's 2003 India was Australia final loading. However, this time it seems the other way around strength-wise. Absolutely, Rajan. I think it is India versus Australia, with India having an absolute edge over what has happened. But remember, New Zealand also put up a good fight in Dharamshala. So that's why I would not go beyond in stating that India does have the edge. New Zealand can give them a fight. But apart from that, I think India versus Australia final is loading in Ahmedabad at this point. Freaking awesome saying, if India, either I say or New Zealand should win this World Cup, I do not see Australia winning it. Why freaking awesome? I mean, Australia is the alpha team. I mean, they have completed the Grand Slam. They are the dominant nation. And that's why there is a different joy in seeing Australia win. And that's why that's the situation. KD Rajput saying Australia's bowling is not threatening. I kind of agree. In this World Cup, Australia's bowling has been hauled up by only one particular individual, Adam Zampa. If Zampa fires, only then Australia fire. But if their bowling unit clicks in the semi-final, the likes of Hazelwood, even Hazelwood's been brilliant. Starc has been wavered. So has Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins also has not been that threatening. And that's why I would say that maybe this is the time where I would say Australia's bowling isn't looking that threatening. I do agree with that, KD Rajput. That's why I will give, if India versus Australia final happens, I will give India the edge because their bowling is simply next level. Do you think Trent Bolt is playing too much T20 cricket and that has affected his ODI performance? Shreyans is asking me. Well, see, he has been playing a lot of T20As, but I think in the game against Sri Lanka, he kind of got his mojo back. He got 3 wickets. He bowled with good swing. He bowled with good in that sense, and that's why I think he is kind of recovering from his rhythm. But yeah, since he's not got a New Zealand central contract and he's now a T20 gun for hire, perhaps that's the way we look at it, and that's why it's going to be very very interesting. If Australia will bat first, Australia will beat SA. Our Earth is best. Probably, yeah. If Australia bat first, they will win. Because South Africa, even yesterday, they did not give us enough confidence. They could not get enough confidence to ensure that they could chase very properly indeed. Rajan Thind is like asking, Sir, could SA break the semi-final jinx this time, beating Australia's redemption of 1999 World Cup tribute to Klusner now? Rajan, I hope that happens because I said 4 years of a grudge match that we have had between India and New Zealand. But what about Australia, South Africa? Their grudge and their hurt stretches back to 24 years, 1999, that epic semi final. And that is why I think this is the best time for South Africa. Remember, South Africa will be determined to ensure that they overcome them. Remember, they won 6 out of the 16 ODIs, they only won 3, Australia. But remember, even in 1999, South Africa had held the edge. They had won, the ratio that they had won against Australia was 3-1. And that is why I would look at it by saying this is the best chance for South Africa to break the jinx. If they don't do it now, they are never doing it at this point. Australia never lost a semi-final except 2019 semi-final. Our Earth is best. True, but our records are always meant to be broken, and that is why I would say, let's see how it happens. Sir, cricket is here. Sir, Team India has reached that match where they play the worst. Request to stay grounded. Happy Diwali, one and all. Of course, see, New Zealand is a tough opponent. I mean, let's make no mistakes about it. Unlike in 2019, we all felt that, okay, India can make it to the final this time because it's at home. We are thinking that they could make it to the final, but New Zealand can pull off an upset. I can say that with reality, but I think India this time have covered all their bases. New Zealand does not have that, you may say, X factor. They don't have that X factor of surprise anymore. Maybe if they bowl with discipline, then and only then I think they can beat India. But I don't think otherwise it can happen. So Srivatsa Vinjamuru saying, why rest for Kohli and Bumrah? They need to be in good shape before the semi-final. Absolutely. I don't think they are resting anybody at this point for the Netherlands game. They have already gotten a 6-day rest. I think that is about it at this point. So no more resting at this point, and that's why will Bavuma play the semi-final? Yes, I think he will, Shreyansh. Okay, Gopal Krishnan K is saying, with the form of Maxwell, no other captain will rest him. Labuschagne resting may be better option considering Steve Smith is back. I do agree, but again, Marnus Labuschagne has not been in good form. He might be the anchor that is there. And remember, if Australia play with their full strength side, then I think Marnus Labuschagne might not get a game. And you want power hitters. Essentially, you want power hitters who can ensure they take the game away. And that's why I would say go with your instinct. Maybe drop Labuschagne for the final if Australia get there. And that's why it's going to be a big. In both semis, toss will play a crucial. Don't you think it's an unfair advantage? No, freaking awesome. I mean, that's the luck of the draw. The Mumbai pitch is like that. If you win the toss, batting is the first major condition in India. From the 90s itself, you've seen if you bat first, it's a good toss to win. And then after that, conditions just deteriorate. That's how the nature of the wicket is. If you chase well, then that's a different thing altogether. It's not an unfair advantage. India's bowling, Rajan Thind is saying, is a quite lot like 2003 was. Bumrah like McGrath, Siraj the Gillespie way, Shami threatening like Lee, Kuldeep like Brad Hogg. 1+ for India is Jadeja. Yes. Although I would reverse the role. Bumrah, I mean, McGrath was like, I would say Mohammad Shami is Glenn McGrath. Jasprit Bumrah is like Brett Lee, and Siraj is Jason Gillespie. Lee was menacing with the space. Bumrah is menacing with the space. I would say Shami, with his metronomic discipline, that seam up, I would put him in Glenn McGrath's category in that sense. So let's see. Sindhu Sinha, do you think New Zealand have a psychological advantage in semis? Absolutely. New Zealand have a psychological edge over India. But that is the only edge that they have. Otherwise, there is no major edge that we are talking about. So that's the way we look at it. And if Jimmy Neesham is playing, let's see, cricket is, if Jimmy Neesham is going to play in the semi final, then he's the X factor. He comes to every World Cup to World Cup big match player. But Jimmy Neesham also suffers a lot of heartbreaks. Imagine he had a big heartbreak in the Dharamshala game, and since then he's not been picked. If Neesham plays, I don't know how the composition will be. You already got three pacers. Will they drop Chapman and get Neesham in? Maybe that can be the way. Chapman goes out, Neesham comes in. Maybe that's the way we look at it. If India batting second in Wankhede, they have to be cautious for first in overs, and Dew comes in early, and it'll be easy. They shouldn't lose early wickets. They shouldn't lose early wickets. But that has not been the case with India. Rohit will go for the kill. He will want to be aggressive, and that's where the pressure is on New Zealand. So that is the way we look at it. Do you think Australia are playing more power hitters? Marsh, Warner, Head. Our earth is best. That is the way how they play. That is the way how they back themselves. Aggressive. That is why I am only going at be powerful. Go for the top and ensure that you are one of the best in this point in time. Then India's last match against Netherlands in Bengaluru, in case India needed NRR, great planning by King D. Come on, King D. You don't even need NRR or any kind of a situation. Netherlands are the one that need an NRR situation at this point. And whether they're going to beat India, that's another big thing altogether. Beating India, this current Indian team on form. Come on, King D. They are making it to the final. Let's see how it is. November 19th, middle of November, let's see how the pitches behave, because that's what cricket religion is saying. Indian pitches in November are becoming very different. Chasing in so much dew used to be so easy this year. How come no one is able to chase? That's the confounding thing here. Why are people not able to chase? Maybe good bowling, maybe the bowlers have adjusted to the dew much better. They now know how what are the lengths to be bowled, and that's why that's the best way that we're looking at it. So that is the situation that we have got. Australia versus Bangladesh. Remember, Champions Trophy qualification is at stake for Bangladesh. If they win, Bangladesh, they're through to the Champions Trophy. If they lose, but if they lose by a small margin, somehow, some way, they can scrape through to the semi-final, to the Champions Trophy. But if Bangladesh lose by a big margin, Sri Lanka make it somehow by the skin of their teeth. And before I sign off, KD Raj, Surya will be X factor of Indian semi-final. Guy has good record in Wankhede. Let's see. Let's see how it goes for Surya Kumar Yadav. Because remember, even in Wankhede, in the two games that he's had a chance, in the game that he had against Sri Lanka, the chance that he had, he didn't do it. So that's why I would suggest don't be too overwhelmed by Surya. If he does well, great. If he doesn't do well, move on. That's how I look at it. So Bangladesh versus Australia. It's about to start now. My prediction is Bangladesh getting about 230, 240, and Australia winning. That's how I look at it. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on Sports Trade. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live. And don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Bye-bye.